Hello, princesses, and welcome back to Not Fit for Print Beauty with me, Rebecca. Today we have a subject matter that has been requested over and over again by several different subscribers. We are going to look at the limited edition, more recent and still available Nars eye and face palettes. Now the reason this video was heavily requested, it kind of makes sense. When you think about Nars as a brand, they release over tons and tons of limited edition palettes. And the thing about Nars palettes is sometimes they're brand new shades. Sometimes they're new only in the fact that they're favorite shades that are together in one palette for the first time, making it new. And sometimes they're actually unnamed and people try to figure it out. Oh, that's Nars Laguna. But when you look it up, it really isn't, the name isn't really ever listed, not even on the palette itself. So it can be a bit confusing. So what I've done here is, like I said, I've taken just the recent ones that are still available and I've linked them all below for your shopping pleasure. I try not to go too far back. So we don't have Claudette, we don't have Saint Germain, we don't have even Overlust. I try to just go with the last few months readily available limited edition palettes. So many of us are starting to get out and travel again, not just for pleasure, but also a lot of you that are working, your work's starting to send you out again. And a lot of these face palettes and eye palettes can be great, quick, easy looks for travel. And so many people say to me, which ones do I buy? Do they look the same? What uses that? So we're going to swatch. We're going to swatch all of them. We're going to swatch them all together for comparisons. We got lots of swatches. If you like swatches, lots of swatches coming up. We're going to talk about prices and what all of these palettes include. Now, for those of you who have been with my channel for a while, please forgive me while I say this for any new folks. Nice to meet you. I come from the perspective of a print, fashion, and beauty journalist. That is my day job. I'm a fashion and beauty print journalism editor, so I tend to throw in little tidbits, bits, and historical things, so forgive me. I'm not trying to talk down to anyone who already knows, but those of us who don't or just need a reminder, sometimes it's kind of fun. Please know that Francois Nars is, of course, a French makeup artist and photographer, and he moved to New York City in the 80s and became kind of a power trio, really, with photographer Steven Meisel and, of course, the hairdresser we all know by his first name only, Oribe, and they did some of the most iconic Vogue covers in the 80s and 90s together. But Francois Nars finally started his own label for cosmetics in 1994, and though he sold to Shiseido in 2000, Francois Nars remains the creative director of Nars. He is heavily involved in all the decisions that come in with his makeup. He didn't just sell and move on. Not only is he the creative director, do you know he does all the photography, and this might shock you, the marketing. So all of the copywriting for the Nars products, you know, when I go, why are you naming everything Orgasm? He's directly, I guess he's directly responsible for that. It's kind of fun to know, however, that when you are buying a Nars product, you are really getting the ingenuity of the makeup artist himself. He is directly involved to this day, of course, with the brand. So if you knew that already, cool. If you didn't know that, I just thought I would enlighten you. Let's start talking and let's start swatching. Okay, so I am going with the releases of just the past few months. Let's start with, they're not really in any order, but we're going to start with the most recent, and that is the Climax eyeshadow palette. That is a $49 eyeshadow palette, limited edition, as everyone we mention here will be, and linked below. It is in this nice little red case, and we have 9 shades. I'm going to show it to you here in the pan, and then on my arm. So take a look first at the 9 shades, trying to cover up the mirror there for you. This is a moody little grungy palette, but it's absolutely beautiful. Lots of blues and army greens, really, really good for fall. And you see that rusty color down there. This one I do have. I will link my original reviews to each of these palettes also below in the description bar so you can see in more detail, and then you can see me applying the eyeshadow palette as well for all of the Nars products we're looking at. Take a look at this one, just this alone right now on my arm. We'll compare it to some others later, but for right now, let's take a look at the Climax eyeshadow palette just on my arm so you can see what all 9 of those shades swatch like. They are absolutely beautiful. Let's move on to the Uninhibited Collection, which has an eye palette and a blush duo. So let's look at the Uninhibited Eye Palette first. $49, again, like all of the Nars 9-pan eye palettes are. And it is, oh, as I stick my thumb in it there, please forgive that. Oh, what a mess. Here we have all 9 of these, again, $49, and again, limited edition. This is the Uninhibited Collection that now has a gouge right there, courtesy of my thumb, wouldn't you know. This one is beautiful and actually benefits from taking a look at the case as well. It has a golden case, and these Nars lettering all over it is raised up. It is super duper cool, and it matches. I'm going to show you the swatch in just a moment, but it matches this is the Cheek duo right here. Now this blush duo is $45, and it is 2 shades, so it's new only in the fact that these 2 shades are together for the first time. And the 2 shades are Tempted and, heaven help me, Deep Throat. Yes, you know I hate it. We're a family show here. But these are the names of the products. Tempted and Deep Throat are in the Uninhibited Blush Duo, also limited edition, of course, for $45. And what I have done here is I have put the Uninhibited Eye palette on my arm to the left, and to the right of it we have the little blush duo. Hopefully that shows up well there to the camera. The eye duo, the eye 9-pan on the left, and the blush duo on the right. Let's move along to another limited edition, and this is limited currently, kind of limited availability. This is the Nars Pleasure Trip in this pretty peachy pinky container here. When I say limited edition and limited availability, this was at the Nordstrom anniversary sale. It was kind of a special find there. I don't know, and you can comment below if you do know this, where else this will pop up, but right now it is still available at Nordstrom. This has 3 new shades, brand new shades, and is $45. So let's take a look at them here. This has a kind of a very light bronzer, if you could call it that. And then it has a highlight and a blush, but the blush is kind of highlighty too. And of course, this could even be used on eyes if you wanted to, or wherever you wanted to use it. Let's take a look at that on my arm. All of these products perform extremely well. Look at that on the arm there. Of course, I can't completely make a recommendation to you because it will have to do, obviously, with your skin tone and your shade preferences. But what I will tell you is towards the end in a little bit here, we are going to do some comparison swatches of face and eye palettes next to each other, so that also might help you, so stick around. Let's look at the Summer Solstice palette. I am wearing the Summer Solstice Eye palette today. So you can take a look at that there. And again, all my original reviews will be below for tutorials and such, if you want to check up on those. The Summer Solstice Eye palette, I know it's not really summer anymore. We're heading to the end, but this limited edition palette is still available, as well as the face palette that goes with it. Here is the eye palette, again, a $49 limited edition eye palette, which is indeed still available. I linked it below for you to take a look at. It is super pretty, and I just felt like wearing it today. Isn't that nice? Also has a super cool case, because we know Nars is an artist from kind of soup to nuts, as they say, so he's going to do also these really stunning presentations of the palettes. Look at that. That is kind of engraved, would you say, into the gold there. Before we go to the arm swatch, which also has the face palette on it, let's take a look at it. We have 2 shades here, a highlight and a very light bronze. Depending on your skin tone, that would almost be on the eyes, or for those who are fair to light medium. That is also limited edition Summer Solstice face palette and is $45. Let's go to that swatch on my arm right now. On the left, we have the limited edition Summer Solstice Eye palette, and to the right of it, the limited edition Summer Solstice Face Duo with bronzer and highlighter. That bronzer doesn't even really work for me, and I'm a pretty solid light medium. Just thought I would tell you that. Okay, here is another very, very recent one, which I will link my initial review to below. This is the Nars Orgasm on the Beach. Now, I just told you that Mr. Nars himself is very responsible for all these crazy names that I get to say out loud. I will say this about Nars and the use of the word orgasm. I say it now without flinching because that word, that O word, has kind of become synonymous to me with the brand Nars, rather than with a bodily process, function, whatever. That's not what this channel's about. When I hear that name, I think like a shimmery, pinky coral. I just used it so much in relation to Nars. It's Nars's word now, let me tell you. This is a beautiful palette and a real favorite of mine. I'll tell you why. This is, again, limited edition. It is $59. It is a bunch of shades that are inspired by the original Orgasm shade. And that original shade is in here, of course, because you can't, seems like you cannot buy a Nars palette without it, really. So let's take a look at the arm swatch, and it's got all of these colors all around it that are inspired by it. So do take a look at it. Montezuma and Turtle Bay, Naples, Zuma, lots of shades that are all inspired by Orgasm, which is of course the, at this point, hero shade, along with what, Laguna, right, for Nars. Speaking of, if I could back up for a second, in that Summer Solstice face palette, a lot of people say this is Laguna, and this is one of those ones where there's not really a lot. It says highlighting powder and bronzing powder. This is one of the ones I meant to say from earlier, where people come up with shades that these are, but this brand doesn't actually say. They're kind of unnamed, which is a little strange. Orgasm on the Beach, they do list the names, but they're some new, some not, and all inspired by Orgasm. And last but not least, here's something that is available currently now solely at Ulta. And that happens often with Nars. And this is the Basic Instinct palette. This is just basically a face palette, and it comes in two different versions. I have, of course, because I'm light medium, I have Basic Instincts 1, but I've definitely got my eyes on the Basic Instinct 2, which I'll throw up a picture of so you can see it, for either if you have a darker skin tone, a deeper skin tone, or if you're like me and you just like that impact and like to use it on the eyes. But let me just show you the Basic Instinct 1. This one has 4 best-selling shades. Nothing new here. It has Orgasm, Orgasm X, Behave, and Dolce Vita. So nothing new in this palette, but it's new in that this is the first time those 4 shades were put together. That can constitute nude now, I guess. Let's look at it on the arm before we go to some comparison swatches. I just wanted you to see the first Basic Instinct shade, and that's just available currently at Ulta. I don't know if it'll end up coming to other places as well. So keep your eye out or comment below if you have some information. All right, let's look at some of these together, because this is where, now that we've kind of seen all of them separately, this is where your questions tend to come in. All right, which one should I buy? Okay, so let's look at them together. We're going to look at them in the pan, and I'm going to swatch them. Let's take a look at the Climax, Uninhibited, and Summer Solstice eye palettes, shall we? First of all, I'm going to try my best to hold them all up here, kind of upside down. So we have, here is Summer Solstice, here is Climax, and then I'm going to use, this is why the good Lord gave us 2 hands. I'm going to use one to hold up another. There we go. On this side right here where my finger is wagging, we have Uninhibited Climax in the middle, and we have Summer Solstice here where this finger is wiggling, just so you can see them in the pan. Not great, but I'm doing the best I can holding them. But let me show you where I swatched them on my arm. And what I did was I put Climax up top on the arm swatches, Uninhibited in the middle, and Summer Solstice on the bottom. So just so you can see all 3 of those still available but limited edition 9-pan eyeshadow palettes together from Nars. Again, Climax on the top, Uninhibited in the middle, and Summer Solstice on the bottom. How do they perform? How do they wear? Really, really well. I have no complaints. The color payoff is wonderful. The wearability is wonderful. I've been wearing this eye look for hours now. Absolutely in love with it. This one is of course, Summer Solstice, but you can take a pick, and I wanted you to see all of them together. All right, let's look at the face palettes together on the arm, because if I try to hold them all up, this is going to be like a bad circus juggling act, and we don't want that. Let's look at all the face palettes on the arm. We have, on the bottom, Uninhibited, followed by Pleasure Trip, left to right, followed by Summer Solstice and Basic Instincts. And then above, we have Orgasm on the Beach. That got its own little line there. Again, on the bottom row, left to right, Uninhibited, Pleasure Trip, Summer Solstice, Basic Instincts 1, rather than 2. I wish I had that. And above that, we have Orgasm on the Beach. If you are commenting below, do make sure you use the letter O instead of the word, because sometimes your comments can get redacted and thrown into spam. Otherwise, and the actual spam will get through, but your comment will be censored. You know how that goes. At any rate, I would love to hear what you're thinking. Did this help clarify anything for you? All of you who were asking and requesting this video, and I told you it was a great idea, and then I hadn't gotten around to it. Wasn't on purpose, just super busy. I wanted to get it done for you though, because I think it really is a video that needs doing. Let me know your thoughts on these. What is your favorite Nars limited edition palette? Maybe even one that we can't get anymore. I would sure love to hear it. So do comment below. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I hope that you did. And if you have not already done so, please subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.